to talk about what the ministration of the Spirit is. Have you ever wondered what the ministration of the Spirit is? So many times we think of the ministration of the Spirit just as the Holy Spirit supernaturally working in our hearts, which I do believe is definitely part of this. But there's something much deeper that we can see in the ministration of the Spirit. I'm going to read from 2 Corinthians chapter 3, and I'm reading from verse 5. It says, "Not that we are sufficient of ourselves to think anything of ourselves, but our sufficiency is of God." Now, he's talking about a sufficiency here. He's talking about a powerful working of God in their lives. It says here, He's made us able ministers of the New Testament, not of the letter, but of the Spirit. For the letter kills, but the Spirit gives life. So we find here that the Spirit is what gives life. And what Paul is contrasting here is life and death. It goes on and it says in verse 7, "But if the ministration of death, written and engraved on stones, was glorious, so the children of Israel could not steadfastly behold the face of Moses for the glory of his countenance, which glory was to be done away, how shall the ministration of the Spirit not be rather glorious?" So he's saying that there was a ministration of the letter, and then there's a ministration of the Spirit. And this ministration of the Spirit is connected to life, and the ministration of the letter was connected to death. Now, verse 8, "How shall not the ministration of the Spirit be rather glorious? For if the ministration of condemnation be glory, much more does the ministration of righteousness exceed in glory." Now, we find here that the greater glory that is being talked about, and that greater glory, which is the ministration of the Spirit, is likened to life. Now, what is this ministration of the Spirit then exactly? It says, I'm going to read from verse 15. It says, "But even unto this day, when Moses read, there's a veil upon the hearts of those who read the law." Or basically, he was talking about the people of that day that was rejecting Jesus and continuing to just believe in Judaism. Now, verse 16 says, "Nevertheless, when they turn to the Lord, the veil shall be taken away." Now, the Lord is that Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. So we find here that he says that the Lord is that Spirit. So the ministration of the Spirit is basically the ministration or the effect of the lordship of Jesus in the earth, which is the ministration of life in this earth. Now, we need to understand that Jesus Christ died, that he was raised from the dead, and then the resurrected Jesus was appointed as the Lord over the earth. For what purpose? To bring the rule of heaven, the rule of life, to this earth. Now, the power of his rulership is what we call the ministration of the Spirit, or the ministration of the Lord, the ministration of his authority in this earth. Now, one might think, how can the Lord be the Spirit? Did Jesus now become a spirit? I want to use an analogy to explain this. If you are at a party and you find that this party is not doing well, people are not happy, they are not laughing, there's no joy, and somebody arrives, and this person is just an energetic person, charismatic, and whatever you want to think it could be to bring life to that party, and you find that once he arrived, that the party started to gather some energy, and as this party gathered some energy, everybody was happy and just having a good time. You would say that this person that has arrived was the spirit of the party, or one would say of people that are very, I don't know what the right psychological word for this is, but that has got the ability to entertain people. They are the spirit of a party or the spirit of a place. Now, it doesn't mean that they are not physical. It just means that they have an influence, an influential power upon those that are around them. And this is what we need to see here. Jesus Christ, when he was raised from the dead, when he was bodily raised from the dead, the power of his resurrection that now ministers life to this earth is called the ministration of the Spirit, or one can say the administration or the bringing of the life of heaven into this earth. Let me read it again. Now the Lord is the Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. We can basically say Jesus is that true glory that God had in mind. Jesus is the life of God towards us. Paul says that he's come to minister the Spirit, not the letter, for the Spirit gives life. And what is that Spirit that gives life? It's the resurrected Jesus. He that was raised from the dead, that now administers life on account of his rulership over death, because he was raised from the dead. Now, Paul says here, with open face, we are beholding as in a mirror the glory of the Lord, and we are changed by the same image, which is the glory of the Lord, which is the resurrection of Jesus, as by the Spirit of the Lord, or the powerful influence that this glorified man, Jesus, has on the earth. And that is what the ministration of the Spirit is. Blessings to you all.